Hello, everyone. My name is Sara Mayer, and today we are going to talk about the 12-week year. It's a book by Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. It's one of my favorite books, and I think you'll enjoy the lessons that you can use from this book to your Toastmaster year. You can tell I have a lot of tabs and a lot of highlights. So I first want to jump in with a quote by Thomas Edison. And this quote says, if we did the things we were capable of, we would literally astound ourselves. And in this book, the author agrees with Stephen Pressfield, who is the author of The War of Art, which I also suggest you check that book out. And I also agree that most of us have two lives that we live. One is the life that we are currently living, and one is the life that we are truly capable of. And the 12-week year talks all about achieving what you are truly capable of. So let's jump in. So first, why the 12-week year? What even is this concept? And why should you even be listening to this? So the first thing is the 12-week year is a system. It allows you to break your year up into 12 weeks and to really create that clarity and focus around what you need and want to accomplish, not only for the year, but in each 12-week section. It also creates urgency. And so there's really no difference between everybody else, but the people who highly achieve things, the execution is the key. It's not that they're smarter. It's not that they're better or have more knowledge. It's that they have figured out the way to take ideas and dreams and goals and execute at a level that is different than others. So that's the difference between people who are successful and people who maybe struggle to be successful. Now, what does this 12-week year mean? So the first thing is, let's talk about annual planning. Your work may do this, you may do this, you may sit down at the beginning of the year and create this beautiful annual plan. And at the end of the year, you may be no closer to your goals. I don't know if you've had that happen to you, it's happened to me. Some people's jobs create these beautiful annual plans as well. And quite frankly, I agree with the authors that annual plans just simply do not work. And this is the reason why. There's three core flaws with annual plans. The first one is this feeling of having plenty of time to get everything done. So people just feel like a year is a long time. I can accomplish a lot in a year and I have plenty of time to get it done. The double-edged sword to that also is we overestimate sometimes what we can accomplish in a year and underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 years. And so I think it's really critical when you're looking at the annual plan to remember that there is this mindset that, well, I have plenty of time to get this done, so I'll just load up my annual plan. The other thing that is a critical flaw in the annual planning process is that there's this thought that something will happen in the middle of the year. Oh, I'll get motivated, or this will happen, and then I'll be able to do this. And that doesn't always happen to get you the results that you're looking for. And then the biggest flaw with annual planning is there are usually no short-term deadlines. It's all or nothing. Like, I will do this year, and I have a whole year to do it, rather than I will do this month and this month and this month, creating those deadlines. And so introducing the 12-week year. So the concept is you no longer have a year, you have 12 weeks. And when you think about it in that time frame, you can accomplish a lot in 12 weeks, but it compresses the time that you have to do some of these big goals and dreams. And what we would suggest, the authors, I also suggest, is that you choose 1 to 3 goals to focus on every 3 months. And those goals are challenging. They can be the same as what your yearly goal may have been. You just don't have a year to get it done any longer. You only have 12 weeks, and every 12 weeks, you're going to reset those goals to drive to those results. And what's really important is setting those goals so that you have short-term deadlines, and you also are going to measure the results. So I'll use an example in sales, because a lot of us can relate to sales or recruitment for a club. There you go. That's a great example, a Toastmaster example. So many times the goal is to recruit. So I'll use a Toastmaster example. Many times the goal is to recruit 8 new members. And we know why you have that goal. And so you can have that goal of recruiting 8 new members and not achieve it. I know that may have happened to your club before, or maybe you have a sales goal at work and your goal is to sell a certain number of widgets and you don't achieve it. And the reason usually comes down to measuring the incorrect thing. And so the recruitment of 8 members is actually the result of other things. So it's generating names of people who may be interested in Toastmasters in your club, doing the outreach to invite them to events, getting them to your events or meetings, having conversations about them joining your club, and then recruiting them into your club. So there are various activities along the way that when you get into the 12-week year and you measure those things, those will lead to those results. And so it's really important to create some measurement around your goals in your, that you're going to focus on for 12 weeks. So one of the measurements for a club could be find 5 potential people to invite to our next meeting. So that could be generating names from your members, posting on social media and getting some referrals on that. And when you hit that goal, now you have a measure. Okay, I have 5 potential people. 3 actually showed up. Of the 3 that showed up, 1 became a member. Now you know, in order to hit 8 goals, 8 new members, you are going to need 5 names for every 1 member. So you can back into that to become more successful. And then every 12 weeks, you're going to reset that. So your first 12 weeks may not be to recruit 8 members. That may not be your goal. Your first 12 weeks, your goal may be to recruit 2 members. But it's important to have those measurements around how you're going to get to your goals and to really think about those goals throughout the 12 weeks. And many people say, I do well under pressure. So I always crammed for the final exam or whatever. And you can certainly wait till the last week, week 11, to try and achieve your goals. But you will not be as successful if you started on week 1 and worked towards those measures each week. So there are several concepts when you are thinking about working on a 12-week year. It's an accelerated goal-setting system. It is something that allows you to execute at a higher level because you're setting those 3 goals, you're focusing in on those 3 goals, and then the next 1 to 3, depending on how intense those goals are, and then the next 3 months, you're going to focus on something different or build on those goals. The measurement is super important. And there's an activity that you can do each week with yourself or with a group, like in your club. And it's a weekly accountability. Now, it does not need to be a full-blown 1-hour meeting on Zoom and hashing out everything. It can be a simple group text or a Facebook Messenger message, a Facebook group message, but the weekly accountability for goals really focuses on this agenda. So what results did you achieve that week? And that puts a weekly deadline on it. I need to do something towards this goal this week, because at the end of the week, I'm going to have this weekly accountability and I'm going to need a report out on what I accomplished that week. The second question is, what is your execution score? Did you execute to the level that you need to execute? Now, we don't need to make this complicated. There is like a little formula in the book, I just do 1 to 10. What was my execution score? Was it an 8? Was it a 5? Was it a total 2? Did I not do anything this week? Is it a 0? And so that's the second question. First question, what results did I get? Second question, what was my execution score? Third one, what are my intentions for next week? How am I going to change that score? What am I going to do to work on my goal for the next week? And then the fourth one is reviewing what's working. Many times we look at ourselves and our performance from a place of negativity. Well, this didn't work because of this, and this, I was just too lazy that day and I procrastinated. Look at this from the perspective of what is working. What is working? My goal is written down. I have a plan. I have time set aside. Whatever it may be, that would be something to review each week and then build on that the next week. So that accountability, again, could be a text, could be a group message, could be, a voice memo. Make it simple, but it needs to be with other people. You could also do it yourself, but it's more effective when you're holding yourself accountable to a pod. So again, the agenda would be what's working. Back up. The agenda would be results weekly, execution score, intentions for the next week, and then reviewing what's working. So how that might look is my goal is to form a new Toastmasters club, and results weekly. I did 3 things that I needed to do this week of the 5. My execution score, I'm going to give myself a 7. Intentions. Next week, I intend to do 4 more things. Here's what they are. And review what's working. What's working is having time on my calendar to actually work on these tasks. So I will continue to do that. And that's an accountability meeting that you can have with yourself, with others, which is more effective each week to determine how your progress is going from week 1 to week 11 to achieving your 12-week goal. Now, here are some tips if you want to get on the 12-week goal schedule. The first one is plan in your calendar time uninterrupted, so no Facebook notifications popping up, no checking your phone during that time, no texting, no anything like that. 3 to 6 hours a week. And put that on your calendar where you're uninterrupted. Yes, you can take breaks during that time, but it's a time on your calendar that allows you to work on those goals. That's key number 1. The second one is to put in your calendar some buffer time. So a lot of us go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting, and many times our meetings come with action items. We need to type up the minutes from the meeting. We need to reach out to a couple people because we said we would, whatever, but we don't plan in the calendar buffer time between those meetings. So I suggest maybe change your meetings to 45 minutes, but still put an hour on your calendar. And then you have that 15 minutes of buffer time. And then let's talk a little bit about breaks. In order to execute at a higher level, you absolutely need to take breaks. If you're an entrepreneur, pretend you have a job and you're required to take 2 15-minute breaks twice a day and a half-hour lunch, and put it on your schedule. If you're working on a 3-hour block, put some 15-minute breaks in there. Put some time to get away from your desk for a minute or 2 to reset. It's so important for us to take breaks in order to execute at this level, especially when you're taking annual goals and you're bunching them up into 3-month goals. Every 3 months, you're setting new goals. You will find when you move to the 12-week year system that you will accomplish more in a year than many people accomplish in 10 years. Because you're simply creating these false deadlines, you're driving to measurable results, and you're holding yourself and others accountable. And then I will add one more thing. You should celebrate your success. So many times we achieve big goals and we don't take the time to celebrate that success. That is an abridged version of the 12-week year and how you might implement this in your Toastmasters volunteer role or your club is to break up what would be your annual goals, maybe to accomplish distinguished status as a club, and break those up into 12-week chunks where you are hyper focused on 1 or 2 or 3 goals in 12 weeks, and you help the club to then drive to that goal. So that 8 members may seem like a big goal, recruiting 8 members, or maybe you want to recruit more than 8. But when you break it up into 12-week chunks, you're able to achieve that at a higher rate. And what happens is, like back to the example of you need 5 people, 5 names to generate 1 member, you'll end up needing less names to generate 1 member because you'll get better and better and better at repeating that system. So I hope you all will join me on the 12-week year journey, and I hope you will find some success in that so that you are able to accomplish and execute more than you ever have done in a year, because it's really about setting out and crushing goals. Happy Toastmaster year. Check out the book and have a great one.